want to talk about the quarterback room for a little bit. When you were talking to Zach about Kirk, when you guys were initially going to make that decision, what was it about Kirk's skill set and background that you thought made him a fit for what you guys wanted to be offensively?
The human in Kirk was the number one deal that made him a fit. His ethos and who he is as a person, being around him in D.C., knowing exactly what he was as a rookie, knowing what he was as his maturity level grew and he became a starter and a full-time starter, being with Kyle Shanahan, being with Sean McVay, going with Kevin O'Connell, being around similar systems that we've all done and we've all worked with. That was the first thing. The next thing was the player and who he could be, the processor, the guy that gets the ball in the right spot, knows exactly what he wants, has a process that he goes through, has real purpose in his delivery, love the human, love his family, love everything is about. And bringing him here, I thought he can activate some of the players that we have here that are really good. That was number one with Zach. And we were both like-minded on those thoughts and how we saw that. And he was also a part of our process. And he was one of the main goals and the main targets that we talked about going to get. Not publicly, but obviously in-house and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to go do it.
Is there a certain level of comfort watching him do and have success in an offense in Minnesota that has shared DNA to what you guys want to be?
He's had success in every offense that we've kind of had DNA in that you could think of. Going back to Kyle Shanahan and Washington, to Jay Gruden, to Sean McVay, to Kevin O'Connell, to whatever he's done. And really, I think it's more of his attacking mindset of having success than actually the systems. And he has a like mindset that we all have. He sees it very similar, but it really made it easy knowing exactly what Kevin O'Connell was doing, knowing exactly that Zach and Kevin worked together, that Raheem, myself, and Kevin, and Sean, and all of us worked together at one point. And it's a big family, and it was a lot of fun to be able to incorporate that into it. And you're forgetting some other people with that. Matt LaFleur worked with Kirk Cousins. He was his quarterback coach. Mike McDaniel was on that staff as well. So all of these evolving offenses that you see that are consistently getting better and better and making it harder on defensive guys, Kurt has somewhat of a relationship with all these people. And that is fascinating. That's fascinating for all of us, particularly when you get somebody that's a quarterback-needy team and a team that you think you can go out there and win with if you get the right guy.
Yeah, he's almost like the platonic ideal of a Shanahan system quarterback. I mean, it's like you can it's so easy to envision dropping him into what you guys want to be and then unlocking everything else.
I can't call this Shanahan system anymore. We used to call this Shanahan system back in Washington when we was talking about when you didn't want to say Kyle or Mike, you said the Shanahans. Now, I mean, it's kind of like
it's a little bit of everybody. It's
the guys, and it is the most competitive thing to watch when you get a chance to watch the tape and. A lot of similar things, little subtle differences, and things of that nature that you can go take from and steal from your own team.
Obviously, that's not the only move you guys made at quarterback this offseason.
That's right.
Ultimately, what was the deciding factor that you guys made you think it was worth it, even after signing Kirk, even after being in kind of the win-now urgent position that you're in,
That's right.
to pick a guy like Michael Penix when you did?
Kirk gives us a chance to win a championship. Let's not even put it any other way. Right, whether you're talking about winning this division, once you get in, anything can happen. Kurt's in his 12th year, and if we would have drafted Kurt in year one in 2012 and he had been an Atlanta Falcon up until this point, we'd be looking for somebody to come in and be ready to be the heir apparent and take over the reins. Hopefully, getting Kurt here, we're not going to be in any position to pick a quarterback. And you're sitting there with the 8th pick. You evaluate the quarterbacks before and after free agency. You evaluate all the positions, and you're sitting there at 8, and the guys you got very high on your board staring at you with a chance to pick them, a guy that you believe in, a guy that's got a lot of similar traits to the guy that you're going to know lead you this year and do the things that he's done. A guy that has a cannon of an arm, a processor, humble, fits your ethos, does everything the right way. A guy that you can bring in here and sit behind a guy for a couple of years, no matter how long it takes, and say, here's our heir apparent. Let's go to work. Now, did it shock everybody, catch everybody by surprise because of the amount of investment that you put into the room? Yes. Is it the most important position, potentially, arguably, in sports? No doubt. And we just felt like if we can fix that room and we can fix that thing short term, we can fix it long term. The short term is dependent on us, right? The short term is dependent on Kurt. The short term is dependent on how much success we can have in the short term, right? That thing may turn into whatever it is that is what it is. That doesn't seem like a problem for us.
What was the moment in the process that you knew you would have felt comfortable doing this with Michael?
You know, we graded Michael very high, and he has some really high grades in our building. And particularly myself, particularly a bunch of the people in the room. We had a quarterback contingent, which I've talked about at an almost annoying point at this point, with Zach Robinson, TJ Yates, DJ Williams, KJ Black, Ken Zampese, Chandler Whitmer, you know, all guys that have been around quarterbacks, right? So when you're just talking about the quarterbacks that have been around, my guy at the Chargers, the famous guy in New Orleans, Matt Ryan, I mean, Matt Stafford. These guys have been around and know what it looks like. You get the best of values in the house in the world to do it. Let's believe it. Stick with our guns and go with it. We get to the pick, and he's there. Pull the trigger.
What was it about his skill set that you felt was special enough to do something that, let's call it, unconventional or surprising?
You know, it's been coming out more and more as this thing's gone longer and longer. He's pro ready. You know, he's one of the few guys in college that's been back there and going through a process and going through a progression. Got the ball out in time. You know, took the least amount of sacks. He's played a pro game his whole collegiate career.
Yeah, his offensive coordinator is an NFL offensive coordinator now.
His coordinator is also in the NFL with him.
Yeah.
The young man's pro ready. And I felt like people almost got mad after the fact because he is so pro ready. But for us, it was just having the ability to go get a guy you feel like that can sit behind Kurt, learn, become great, have Kurt pass the torch to him at some point, and keep it going, and have long-term success with the organization that deserves it.
It creates a unique dynamic, and that's your job, right? So what do you feel like you've had to
It's not.
It's not your job.
It's our job.
It is the job of the building to handle that unique dynamic. So what do you think has been at top of mind for you in how the building needs to approach that dynamic?
The only reason you can even make that kind of step is because of the person that Penix is. If Penix wasn't the guy that he is, then we wouldn't be able to do it. And really, both of them. If Kurt isn't the guy that he is, we couldn't make those type of decisions. You know, when you have a guy like Penix, a strong character, strong personality, fits the Falcon ethos, all about winning, one common goal, both of these guys aim at the same thing, looking at each other, knowing that you can get better every single day, those are the kind of people you have. That's the kind of people you want. Then the rest of us, we got to be there to support those guys. And I think that's our part in it, being able to support our guys.